Well, I was listening to one artist, Kerry James Marshall, and he's like, it's kind of like these aren't he was saying that his work isn't so much personal expose, but more of like his thoughts about art. And I said, okay, I'm glad to hear that because everybody wants to, the blood on the painting and all that. And like a lot of times it has nothing to do with my personal life. It's more of dealing with the materials, dealing with an idea, and just letting it go from there.
And oh, what were you
No,
about to
no,
say?
because like in 2004, I had like a brain aneurysm, and that really knocked me out. It's like really knocked me out. And then when I went through all the rehab and surgery and brain surgery and all that, and I came out and like went right back to painting. I didn't miss a beat. So it's really not about, it's not autobiographical what I'm saying. Yeah, this is what I do, like the glass stuff. My name is Jimmy James Greene. I'm 63 years old. I'm a visual artist and originally from Xenia, Ohio. I remember as a kid I used to like the color forms, which were little plastic pieces that would stick onto a board of plastic. I used to love playing with those, just kind of making arrangements with shapes. And I always liked to draw. Yeah, I really started with, well, in high school, I had a really good art teacher and also a good friend of mine who was also into art. So we both started out doing a lot of acrylic painting. And that was what I really started my artistic career, not knowing at that time it was a career. That's what I just enjoyed doing. And at that point, me and him were like in a friendly competition and supportive of each other, but we like doing at least a painting a week. So that was a good experience. I still do, kept a sketchbook of ideas and then developed those into paintings. And so after graduated high school, then I went went to college as an art major, and then at after a couple of years of college, then I started working with a mural painter in Michigan, and so that's why I kind of left college and worked with him full time, and also sold art supplies. I can like to think of myself as a mixed media artist. I would kind of pick out the materials that gets me through to whatever I'm working on. So the process is usually I start with an image that I like, something that I've photographed or working from somebody else's photograph and altering it some way or another. Either always usually cropping, changing the general composition of it. Then I start to change the color, and at that point, I kind of I've got the image down. Then I can add whatever I want to it. This one was started with this photograph. I wanted to do a picture about Harlem in the spring. It's a show called, and so it's a father and his two daughters. So working title, I called it Daddy's Girl. And so then did this. And with this one, I kind of eliminated the cars, but I really want to get the color. Yeah, I talked about the colors in them. And the background is really simplified, but to me, it feels very much like a Harlem brownstone. And then yesterday, actually, it was just, there was no tree in there. So I put this in, and this is a shot when I was over in Strivers Row in Harlem, and took a shot of that tree, and then put it on the light table, put this behind it, and basically traced the tree. And one of my favorite things about springtime is those buds, those colorful buds, the pinks and all that. So I added that, and it also becomes like something about their relationship. It's a young kids and their father. Like I said, working title was Daddy's Girl. I think I'm going to call it um, Early Morning or Easter Morning, something like that. But it's about their relationship. He seems very proud and happy. The girls, it's like, this is Daddy's thing. Well, the first one was that high school art teacher I talked about, and we're still in touch. And it was his sense of composition that I really liked. He was mostly doing abstract pieces. After that was the mentor, the mural painter, John Lockhart. He was in the Black Arts movement.
We're not talking about being an artist because it's a cool thing to do. It's a responsibility.
Yeah, he was also a portrait painter. So he would travel around the country doing portraits at different fairs and also as a painter. By the time I came to New York, I was pretty much doing collages exclusively. But I would do paintings based on the collage. So I would say Romare Bearden would probably be the third big influence in my work. And just the Black Arts movement in general, I kind of like the art for people's sake, the art that serves a purpose other than just self-expression, but it's kind of a group consciousness. And some it's just compositionally, like all this African art. I have the way that African art works with negative space and the interplay of the positive and negative. I find exciting and interesting. Also the rhythms, that's what in terms of the textiles and African art in general, that's become infused into some of the portraits that I've started to do. Also the just phenotypical, the way Black people look is a big part of my work. One main one is with the MTA, the subway station. That was kind of interesting. It was a nice kind of things, seemed like things came together because the proposal I made was to do children's work, work with the kids doing the projects around the station, and then I would translate their drawings into tiles. So I would have them do the works. I'd cut it up and then collage them together and give it to the fabricator. So it really looks like kids' work, which is, if you want to talk about universal. That was called the Children's Cathedral because it was designed to look like stained glass in a cathedral and doing kids' work. I just finished working with Alice Randall, doing a book cover for her, but she also commissioned me to do 52 portraits of the people in the book. Then the other ones have been like these ongoing series I've been working on. Two that I'm just doing right now. One is called People of Color, and the other one I'm working on is called Ancestral Layers, which is really just painting on plexiglass and putting that on top of a collage. And then on the back, you can see the white and the grays. That's so everything just makes it easier to see. And this is the collage underneath. Well, sometimes I've used it as a subject matter, actually, and I think it's a very... the little girl looks so scared, and he just looks... I think of it as I take it as optimism. You know, that the next generation's kind of picking up the baton and moving it forward. It's not like everything's perfect or they're settling for the way things are. And so that is, I think of it as a very reaffirming sort of period. It feels like things are headed in the right direction. even with this whole reckoning thing, is a big difference between, or one of the differences between this and the civil rights is most of the civil rights was black people addressing the power structure of what was wrong. With this reckoning period, it's kind of like it's right against wrong. You know, it's not necessary. Black Lives Matter has been adopted by white people too. I mean, they just say that yes, this system is a problem. It's not working. This is a systemic issue, not just a racial issue. It goes into economics. It goes into healthcare. It goes into so many levels, justice. And so people are beginning to see it for what it is. It's not just racial, because when you say racial, say, well, I have black friends. You know, they don't think they're not racist, but then they concede that it's a racist system. It's not just a personal attitude, but a whole system that's been set up. That's, and I mean, this whole pandemic has kind of brought all of that to light. It becomes painfully obvious that things are not right. So it's a time of awakening. Now, whether anything gets done, that's another question. But at least it's getting some light shown on it.